Kyle, we've been releasing this podcast for 3 years now.
Whole years.
3 years.
Do I look older? More mature?
I feel older. By traditional anniversary rules, that means leather gifts this year. So what did you get me?
Of leather?
Yeah.
All right, I got you. Ready? Hey, everybody at home, I want you to know that I got Emily a very normal thing to be made of leather. And that thing is a butcher's knife.
Made of leather?
The blade is leather. Oh, no, I got you a leather parsnip. There's no way to combine those two words, huh? There's an awful portmanteau.
Welcome to Butter No Parsnips. Every week on Butter No Parsnips, your hosts Emily Moyers and Kyle Imperator take you on an adventure through the weird, wacky, wonderful, and sometimes even wicked world of one wayside word. Strange characters, delightful bits, and general joyousness abound. Join them as they test each other's etymological expertise.
Hey everybody, welcome to Butter No Parsnips. I'm Kyle Imperator.
And I'm Emily Moyers.
This is our tree-aversary episode, Emily.
It is our tree-aversary episode, and in addition to leather, I got you a word.
I'm so glad. I hope it's not made of leather. Let me know what it is.
Kyle, the word I have for you is calends. C-A-L-E-N-D-S. Or K-A-L-E-N-D-S.
Calends. Calends? I mean, all right. Like right off the bat, I'm going to assume, and you tell me if I'm making a butt of you and me, that this has some relation to calendar.
It absolutely does, Kyle.
It does.
100% right.
Now, I've never actually sat and thought about what calendar means etymologically.
You don't need to know what it means etymologically to guess the meaning of this word.
Okay. Well,
it's related right in the definition of calendar.
Oh.
Yeah, sort of.
Well, the definition of calendar is calendar, right? So
yes.
Is a calends a calendar?
No.
Okay, but it's a table. It's a chart of days of the week.
Sure.
Oh, is it related to time?
Sure.
Okay, that was a really soft sure.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it is.
Is this Latin?
It is.
It's
100%. We're going to talk all about Latin today.
And is it a noun?
It is.
Is it like a mass noun?
So the way it's used is singular, but it always appears in the plural with an S at the end.
Wait, calends is?
No. Calends. But it's used...
So the single and plural are identical?
It's sort of not countable. It's hard. It sits in a weird place grammatically.
Yeah. But there aren't any, like you wouldn't have one calend.
No. You would say
calends.
The calends.
The calends. The calends. Is this like a concept?
Sort of. I mean, it's not something you can hold in your hand.
Like the calends of time.
It's the calends of something.
The calends of something.
You might say the calends of August.
You're much better at giving hints than I am. The calends of August. Okay, so... Oh, is the ends part separate, or is it all calend? Like, is it one?
It's not separate. No, it's all one.
Isn't calendula something?
I don't know.
Is that a plant? Is that a person?
Out.
Is it a demon that I've just summoned?
It is a plant. It's a flower.
It's a plant.
It's
Calendula.
A perennial herb in the daisy family.
Is it related to calends?
Let's find out.
Will this help me? My knowledge
Probably
of horticulture?
Not. Wow, but the flower does come from the same Latin word that calends comes from. Oh, this is helpful in a roundabout way. The plant flowers through the year and blooms often appear monthly. Okay.
So
think about that.
Is it just like a regular period every month?
It is a particular point in the month.
Oh, the middle of the month?
Nope.
How many guesses do I get? Because I've got at least two more. No, give me a hint.
The one word clue I have is new.
Oh, is it the first day of the month?
You got there, Kyle. It took us some wheeling, but we
did
got
it on
there.
my own. None of you out there helped me. You watched me suffer.
Oh, should we start doing the guessing portion like a children's TV show where we ask for help and then leave a gap?
Oh, that would be fun. What do you think out there Calends means?
And then a little mouse appears on the screen and like a Dora.
Oh, mouse, what if they're just listening?
Like a cursor.
There's got to be some
They have
sound
to imagine
effect.
it.
They have to imagine it. Listen, we're explaining it to you this one episode, and from now on, you just have to understand what's happening when there's just silence, okay?
Calends.
Calends, Emily, yeah.
Yes. Means the first day of a month, especially in the Roman calendar.
Especially in the Roman calendar. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm less familiar with the Roman calendar. I'm more familiar with the French one, so.
Kyle, you're more familiar with the Roman calendar than you might think because our calendar is from the Roman calendar.
Whoa!
Yep.
That's crazy. It's like a Trojan calendar.
It just sneaks in.
Emily, tell me about calends.
So our English plural but singular noun, calends, derives from the Latin plural but singular noun, calendae, Kalendae, which referred to the first day of each month in the Roman calendar. Kyle, I can't remember how much we've dug into this on the podcast, but have you looked into the letter K and the K sound?
The letter K and the K sound?
Yeah.
I know we've talked about C and the K sound.
We have.
I don't know if we've talked about K and the K sound, and I'm desperate to know my name starting with a K.
So, early Latin and Etruscan, from which Latin got its alphabet, used the letters C, K, and Q all for the K sound. And which one they used depended on the vowel after it. K was used before A, C was used before E or I, and Q was used before U and O.
I was going to say, if you don't say U, I'm going to be mad at you.
Well, different sources, some said like Q was used before like rounded vowels, K was used before A, and C was used for all the rest.
Yeah.
If you've got like different, like subtly different vowel sounds.
Yeah, like and A and E and yeah.
Yeah. But the Romans didn't love having extraneous letters. And that's why like V could be used like a U and I could be used as a consonant or a vowel, you know.
Yeah.
So K sort of got phased out for a while. They tended towards using Q as the qu sound and then C in most every other case. But the letter K held on in these sort of like fossilized words like calendae, which was like an older word that just held on to the K by tradition. But forms of the word and related words were varyingly spelled with C or K, which is why the spelling varies in English.
Yeah, I mean, that all tracks.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know about Latin and ancient Rome because I feel like, I very rarely see Ks in Latin.
It's more a Greek thing, the kappa.
It is. Yeah, usually when I see a K, I'm like, that's Greek.
Yeah, the Etruscans borrowed it from the Greek alphabet, but the Latin alphabet didn't really use it.
We don't talk about the Etruscans enough. What a great name. Did they live in Etruscany? Is that where they're from?
Etruria is what it used to be known as. Modern day Tuscany.
Wow!
Yeah.
Etruria. I like that. Fun.
But enough about letters, Kyle, because the real theme of the day is calendars. As is the case with many early civilizations, before the Romans had like a formal numbered calendar, they measured the passage of time by the phases of the moon. In fact, both our Germanic English word month and the Latin word for month, mensis, go back to the same Proto-Indo-European root, mens, M-E-H-N-S, which meant moon.
Interesting. Oh, of course, the moonth.
The moonth, yes. Kyle, can you guess another word we get from that root, mens? Perhaps something relevant to people with ovaries?
Oh, I had it in my head before you said ovaries, and then you said ovaries, and then my brain just went agog.
Wow.
Mm.
A cycle that people get.
Yes, I keep wanting to say it's men.
It's from
Menstruary.
menstrual.
Yeah, that's what I said. Menstrual.
Yes.
Oh.
Menstruation, menstrual, and menses, which is another word for your period, all come from mens.
Honestly, when you said another word for men's, I was thinking commensurate. And then when you said the ovaries, I was like, different word. Yeah, we send women to the menstruary when they're menstruating.
Yes. I hate when I have to go there.
Happens every month. Moon
can't escape it. Yeah. So in this lunar measurement of time, each new month would be announced by like a Roman priest when the first crescent appears after the new moon, which is the dark moon.
Sure.
And this is how we get the word calende. It derives from the Latin verb callo, or to call or announce, from the Proto-Indo-European root kelch, to call, summon, or cry out.
Interesting. You know, that's another thing that we find out a lot too when we're looking into Latin, is that a lot of it's more ritualistic than you think.
It seems like they had like a very specific ritual for everything that they did.
Everything. What was their economy like? How did anything get done?
We have to consult the rooster before we can continue.
Before we can announce what the month is.
Yeah, so the first day of each month was described as calendis, which was a sort of adjectival tense that meant like which is called out. So it was like the day which is called out. And then that descriptor came to be used just by itself. Calendae, the called out days.
That makes sense. Cool.
The first of the month was often the time to repay debts and settle accounts. Thus, the Latin noun calendarium meant account book or financial record. And that is where we get our English word calendar.
Oh, from like a financial record. So that's where it like became like a physical thing.
Yeah, because that's what they originally needed to keep track of, is they would, what debts are due on what days or what money they got on what days. So that was like an account of time.
And a calendar.
As it relates to money. The calende or calends was one of 3 principal days in the Roman month, around which the rest of the days were reckoned. So there were like 3 important days in the month, and all the other days they would just talk about in relation to those 3.
Wait, there were 3 calendes in the month?
No. Calende is the first of the month, and then there's 2 others with different names. Do you have any guesses on the other 2? Because one of them's guessable.
Is it the middle one or the end one?
So it's actually...
They're not middle and end, are they?
No. There's the beginning, middle, and then sort of between the beginning and middle.
Yeah.
But the middle one is guessable. What did the Romans call the middle of the month?
Oh, Ides.
Ides, yes.
Ides.
In Latin, it was idus. In English, we call it Ides. And then the in between the middle and the beginning was the none, or the nones.
Known as in like knowledge, like knowing?
No.
Oh, just the nones.
In Latin, it was Nonae, and in English, it's usually Nones.
Like nuns, the nones.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I think it came from 9, because it depended on, we're going to talk about it because it's weird, but it sometimes fell on the 9th of the month.
Yeah. I mean, they were counting with sticks, It's like,
well,
at some point, just get a new system.
It's, oh God, it's crazy, Kyle. It's crazy. So originally, it goes back to, again, when they marked time by the phases of the moon. The calends was the first appearance of the waxing crescent. The nones was the first quarter moon. And then the ides was the full moon. Gradually, they started to measure time by the passage of days and years instead of the phases of the moon. But that was tricky because lunar time and solar time don't sync up evenly.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. Wait.
Yeah.
You're telling me they had months like we had months.
Yes, but they weren't
But they didn't have days like we had days.
I mean, they did, but they didn't they didn't count the number of days in a month before a certain point. They were just like, when the moon gets to this phase, then it's the new month, and we don't really care how many days passed. But then they wanted to have a numbered count of days.
Yeah. Oh boy.
This dissonance meant that the Roman calendar went through several iterations before it reflected an actual revolution of the earth.
Of course it did.
And it made sense.
It was probably chaos for like about 30 years when people were just coming up with their own calendars. Hundreds? It took them that long to figure it out?
Yes, Kyle, we're not even going to talk about all of the weird things that they did to try to get the calendar right. It took so long.
Hundreds?
Yeah. But it's also the reason why our months are different lengths. Like, not all of our months are the same number of days. They were trying to account for the fact that the average lunar cycle is 29 and a half days. So to try to get it fitting with the lunar cycle, the Roman calendar had full months, which were a little bit longer, and hollow months, which were a little bit shorter.
Love it.
The Calends was the first day of each month. The Nones was the 7th day of a full month or the 5th day of a hollow month. And the Ides was the 15th day of a full month or the 13th day of a hollow month.
Dear God.
Yeah, it's bad.
This is before the empire fell? It's not the reason for it falling?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, this is like before and during the Roman Republic is when they were trying to.
That's what happens when you drink lead, huh?
Yeah, it gets worse. So those were those were the three principal days. The days before and after each principal day were called exactly that. Literally, the day before Calends was pre-DA Calendas.
Of course. Oh my God.
And the day after was post-DA Calendas.
Oh, dear God. Dear God.
Literally, the day before Calends and the day after Calends.
Oh, God.
And it gets worse than that.
It's like Calends Eve.
Yes. But if that was just the name of that, we didn't call it the 24th ever. We only called it Christmas Eve. All of the other days were counted backwards from the next principal day.
Yeah. Counting backwards?
Yeah.
With Roman numerals? They're adding when they're supposed to be subtracting.
Yeah. So you'd have Calendis, postri die Calendas, the day after Calends. And then the next day after that was Ante Diem Sextum Nonus, meaning the 6th day before Nones.
No! Burn it all down!
That was just what that day is called.
I hate this episode.
They didn't call it the 3rd of the month. They called it the 6th day before this day.
Say it again. They called that the post.
So, Calends.
Yeah.
The day after Calends.
Yeah.
The 6th day before Nones.
Yeah, but what was the Latin term for that?
Ante Diem Sextum Nonus.
Ante Diem Sextum Nonus. It sounds like, well, if you're just talking about my Italian family, there's Ante Diem, there's Nona Sextum, you know?
Worse still, the Romans counted the days inclusively, meaning they counted as if the principal day itself was one.
But there are 3 principal days.
Yes, but I mean, when you're counting backwards, so like you'd have Ante Diem Tertium Calendas, the 3rd day before Calends, and the next day was the day before Calends.
Right, which is 2.
Right.
And then Calends is 1.
Calends is 1.
And then the day after Calends, which is 2.
Is the day after Calends.
Right. And then it goes to 6.
6 days before Nones.
Right.
Or 4 days before Nones if it's a hollow month.
Right. So it's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2.
Yes, but they didn't call them 1 and 2. They just called it the day before and the day of and the day after.
Yeah, but if we're just going by logic instead of whatever the hell they're doing. Dear God.
Yeah.
If we were trying to put into an Excel spreadsheet, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then it was also,
God.
they had like how we've got sort of a 4-year cycle with the leap year. They had a 4-year cycle where all of the years were a different number of days because they were trying to get their heads around the fact that their year didn't work. It was a mess. It was horrible.
At that point, don't even have years. Just go month by month, you know?
Truly, they should have just stuck with month by month. Said, we'll start doing years when the astronomers get there. Clearly, they're not yet.
Oh my gosh. I'm sad. This episode is making me sad.
The ancient Greeks, bouncing over to the other big classical society, for the most part, they also marked time by both the sun and moon.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a single unified calendar. They're like all the different polises had different calendars.
Sure.
Some of them, notably the Athenian one, did the counting backwards thing, but not all of them.
Oh, interesting.
But none of their calendars used the term calende or any cognate of that. They didn't use that word for the first of the month. And we know that they didn't because the Romans joked about it.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm ready.
There's a phrase in classical Latin, first attested in a historical account written in the 2nd century about things even earlier than that. That is De Vita Caesarum, known in English as The Lives of the 12 Caesars. Historian Suetonius chronicles the lives of 12 Caesars spanning from the 1st century BCE to the 1st century CE. In the section on Augustus Caesar, Suetonius discusses these sayings and colloquialisms that Augustus used in his letters. Suetonius writes that when Augustus wished to indicate that certain men will never pay, he'd write ad calendas Graecas soluturus, which translates as at the Greek calends they'll pay.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Meaning never.
Because there ain't no Greek calends.
There ain't no Greek calends.
That is really good. That's honestly...
Isn't that good?
Good for you,
yeah.
Caesar.
And the term on or at the Greek calends, being used humorously to mean never, was also borrowed from Latin into English.
Wow.
It appeared in the 17th century dictionary Glossographia.
Oh,
but
Thomas
its usage
Blount?
by Thomas Blount. But its usage continued at least up into the 19th century. I have a quote here from the 1872 novel The Poet at the Breakfast Table by Oliver Wendell Holmes. The narrator is talking about a character who's always saying he wants to write and publish something. And then the narrator says, but his friends looked for it only at the Greek calends, say on the 31st of April, when that should come around.
Oh, 31st of April. That's a good English translation.
Yeah, I think he literally says the 31st of April if you'd like to modernize the phrase.
That's really good. Emily, I just do want to bring this back to Oliver Wendell Holmes, and I just want to talk about I want to ask you, what are Wendell Holmes, and why are we talking about all of them? All of our Wendell Holmes.
Oh, I was thinking all of her Wendell Holmes.
All of her Wendell Holmes. Yeah, she's got to liquidate Oliver Wendell Holmes. It's really sad. Bankruptcy is hitting her hard.
She's got to liquidate Oliver Wendell Holmes could also be if she's a mob boss and Oliver Wendell Holmes needs to be taken out.
She's got to liquidate him. Yeah, she'll do it on the Greek calends.
Yeah. Whenever that comes around. Kyle, rounding out the episode with a bit more on the usage of the word calends in English. It has mostly been used the same as in Latin to mean the first day of the month. I have a quote here from the 1806 book, The History and Antiquities of the Anglo-Saxon Church by English priest and historian John Lingard. In a chapter on the history of church governance, he writes, quote, "It was enjoined that twice in the year, on the calends of May and November, they should summon their clergy to meet them in the diocesan synod," which was like a meeting of bishops.
Did we talk about synod before?
We did. We have talked about synod. Yeah. But they would have a meeting on the 1st of May and November, and he called it the Calends.
That's good. I mean, honestly, I feel like we're always talking about the 1st of the month. I can't even tell you. Every other sentence I have is like, June 1st, what are we going to do? July 1st, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So
you could start saying the Calends of June.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And it's good for everybody born on the 1st of the month. They can just say, when's your birthday?
They're
the
a calendary baby.
Or a calendar girl.
Oh. Sure.
Just that quiet silence that you heard. There was a mouse on the screen instructing you all to boo, really.
Kyle, in connection with that older meaning of calendar, calends has also been used to mean a record, often of finances or of time. Sometimes in the phrase calends of exchange, or sometimes just calends.
Sure. Yeah.
I have a quote from the 1601 book, The Mirror of Martyrs by John Weaver. This book was like a biography of a 15th century knight, Sir John Oldcastle, who, fun fact, was the inspiration for the character John Falstaff in Shakespeare's Henriade.
Oh, and Falstaff.
And Yep.
Oh, so
he
he's
was
just
based
a big
on this
fat guy that no one liked.
Well, so the Shakespeare took some creative liberties with Falstaff. It's not worth getting into this guy's whole history. He lived a whole life, but it ended with him getting executed. And Weaver and others viewed him as like a tragic martyr figure.
Mm-hmm.
And so this biography is, as it's sort of summing up towards the end, Weaver writes, quote, "Him for a saint within your calends hold." Meaning, in your record, he should be considered a saint.
In your spiritual financial records.
Yeah.
Make sure to give him a prayer every now and then.
That's right.
You owe him on the calends.
Yeah. Count him on your rosary.
I love that, Emily.
Yeah. And last thing, calends has also been used figuratively to mean a beginning or prelude to something.
Sure.
There is a famous quote from 17th century explorer and writer Sir Walter Raleigh. It comes from a work that he wrote around 1618 and was published after his death, titled The Dutiful Advice of a Loving Son to His Aged Father. And to his aged father, Raleigh writes, quote, "What is age but the calends of death?"
Oh, God, what?
Like, it almost sounds nice.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, this isn't as nice.
It's like one of those joke Hallmark cards, but from the 1800s. What is age but the calends of death?
That's right.
A picture of an old lady with her wig falling off. And
when you open the card, it's a grave.
Happy birthday!
But Kyle, I'm hoping our podcast's age isn't the calends of its death. I don't think it is.
I believe it's the calends of fame.
That's right, Kyle. But that said, we are nearing the end of this episode, which means it's time for you, Kyle, to use calends in a sentence.
My least favorite musical, Rent. Sorry, everybody. Just at one point, it revolves around the fact that they're not paying their rent, which I assume is due on the calends of the month.
Roundabout sentence, but use the word perfectly, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Proud is strong.
I am proud.
Can you just say calends, or is calends of the month redundant?
I don't think it's redundant. I think you could say either.
Because, like, the assumption is going to be the 1st of the month, but it could be a calends of something else now, like, more figuratively speaking, right?
Yeah, because the definition is stretched. I think you could say it both by itself or of the month. Kyle, would you like to play a game?
Yes, I would, Emily.
Kyle, the game I have for you is called Another Trip Around the Sun. And as Butter No Parsnips goes around another year, I'm going to take us around another year and ask you a handful of questions about the names of the months, all of which we get from the Roman calendar.
Fantastic. I'm all in.
So we're going to start at the end and work backwards. And this first
we doing
question,
all 12 months?
I've grouped them, but yes, we are going to go through all 12.
Okay.
This first question is an easy one. Kyle, what is wrong with the names September, October, November, and December?
They mean 7, 8, 9, and 10, but they're the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th months of the year, which always messes me up.
Yeah.
When I'm doing like 11, 16, I'm like, that's not November.
Yeah, it's crazy. They derive from the Latin cardinal numbers septem, octo, novem, and decem, which means 7, 8, 9, and 10. And the "-ber" suffix just turns them into adjectives. They were initially mensis September, mensis October, 7th month, 8th month, etc.
Sure.
Yeah. As far as we can tell, the Roman calendar that existed before the Roman Republic had 10 months. So these were initially the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th months.
Then they added the months that you're going to talk about because they wanted to, yeah.
So, working backwards, because these are the other ones I suspect you'll know, where do the names July and August come from?
Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar.
Very good, Kyle.
They were like, hey, these guys were great. How do we honor them?
July was named for Julius Caesar after his assassination in 44 BCE, and August was named for Augustus Caesar in 8 BCE during his rule. Somebody just decided we should name another month after Caesar.
I think we should change July to Lincolny.
Linkney.
Yeah. The 4th of Lincolny.
Now, here's the thing, Kyle. You said added these months.
Oh.
So I thought the same thing. For years now, I thought September through December were numbered wrong because July and August were slotted in.
Yeah.
Turns out, no. They were renamed. These 2 months were initially called mensis quintilis and sextilis, meaning 5th and 6th months.
Which are the added ones then?
We're going to get there, Kyle. That is it for the numerical names.
Sure.
April, May, and June are all eponyms from classical mythology.
Yes.
But my next question, Kyle, which of those 3 is not named for a goddess?
Juno is June, May, and April. Neither of those sound like...
Those are harder.
Latin.
So they're not all from Latin.
Oh, but they are named after...
mythological figures, just not Roman mythology.
Okay. Which one's not a goddess?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess May.
You got it, Kyle. So June, as you said, is named for the goddess Juno, queen of the Roman pantheon, patron of love, marriage, and women, Roman counterpart of the Greek Hera. April likely derives from Apru, the Etruscan name for the Greek goddess. Any guesses?
Aphrodite.
Yeah. Yep. So we think it's sketchier, but we think April ultimately comes from Aphrodite. And we think
I can take it.
That May derives from Maya, who is one of the Pleiades nymphs of Greek mythology.
Oh.
So she is not a goddess.
Interesting. Why? Because nymph. Spring.
I think she's associated with springtime. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
March was the first month in the original Roman calendar, we think. That is named for the patron god of a particularly important activity and ritualized activity in ancient Rome. Kyle, who's that god?
Oh, is it? I was going to say it was Mars. Is it? It is?
Yeah, you got it. Mars, Roman god of war. Again, a very important part of Roman culture, which had a lot of ritual surrounding it.
Yeah.
One of which is that because it was dangerous to wage war in winter, Romans would generally suspend military campaigns until the new year started in spring. And then there was like all these rituals around starting your war again in spring.
Until the war month.
Yes.
Like spring cleaning, but in the worst possible way.
Militarily. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's fun.
War wasn't the only thing paused during winter. Farming wasn't feasible because the climate didn't allow it.
Yeah.
Civic and religious activity was scaled back because it was cold and wet and gross and there was just less going on. All told, there wasn't much need to track the days, so the space between December and March was just not labeled.
I'm sorry, what?
They just said, okay, it's the end of December. See you in 60-ish days that we don't need to have names for.
That's insane! Because they were just like, nothing's gonna happen while it's cold out. Why are we doing stuff while it's cold out?
That's it.
I'm gonna go back to that. Finally, something I can take out of this episode.
Yeah, but then come March, you do need to declare war on somebody, because if it's seen as very weak if you go through a whole year without any military campaigns.
Gauche, frankly.
Yeah. The Roman Republic created 2 new months to calendarize the winter, because they were like, maybe we should count all of the days. The etymology of February is a little trickier, so I won't ask you to guess that. But January is named for the Roman god of transitions, who is looking both forwards and back. Last question, Kyle. Who's that god?
I'm trying to think of a god that starts with Jan.
You might not know this one then. It's a lesser known one. I hadn't heard it.
Then
much.
give it to me.
It is Janus, the two-faced god of new beginnings, transitions, and time.
Janus.
He's got
from
two
Friends?
faces on his... No, Janus. Janus. Or Janus.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And February is likely, we think, named for Februa, which was a purification festival celebrated around that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was just the name of a festival?
Yeah, so it was just February, the time when we have that festival.
Yeah. Fine, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Thank
Kyle,
you for filling that in.
That's a whole year right there.
Emily, I feel like I've aged another year just listening to the calendars.
In that long game.
No, the game was great. That's the kind of fun etymology, nerdy stuff that we do with each other when we're not doing the podcast.
It's true.
So.
It's true, because last week, Kyle and I just sat down and talked about where all the days of the week come from, just for ourselves.
And I'd do it again, you know?
That's right. And maybe we'll do it again with people listening.
That would be great. I wouldn't do it again if it was the days of the week that you named today. Because I gotta be honest, very interesting, but I was enraged throughout most of today's episode. So
that's fair. That's
most of what I'm taking. I'm taking away that I'm glad that I don't live in ancient Rome.
Yeah, me too.
So
I'm glad we live in this era.
Me too. And I'm glad that we're living in this era and that you're listening to us right now and watching us. So remember, all of you at home, that you can watch us on YouTube at Butter No Parsnips, and you can find Butter No Parsnips on other social media on Facebook and Instagram at Butter No Parsnips Podcast, and on TikTok at Butter No Parsnips. And if you liked today's episode, consider giving us a 5-star rating or review wherever you heard us.
And if you really liked today's episode, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/butternoparsnips. Donating $5 or more gets you exclusive access to Buttered Parsnips, our After Hours podcast.
Thanks so much to all of you. You help us make what we make.
And with that, after 3 years, I've been Emily Moyers.
And after 3 years, I've been Kyle Imperator. And this, after 3 years, has been Butter No Parsnips.
Butter No Parsnips is produced by Seth Glicksman, Kyle Imperator, and myself, Emily Moyers. The main and accompanying themes were composed by Kyle Imperator.